What's up, guys? I'm back in the garage again, and I got the S10ZR2 sitting in here, and I'm messing around with my rear end. So now that that's been said, we're specifically messing with the G80 locker that is in the back of GM trucks, vans, and even some cars. So if you know anything about them, you know they're referred to as Gov locks or Gov bombs, because that's what they're known for doing, is blowing up. So, and this is also a 10 bolt, which is also known for blowing up. So we're gonna work on both of those things, because if you follow the channel at all, you know we're about to do a V8 swap in this. So we're gonna go through some very simple, straightforward ways to adjust the Gov bomb and make it not a bomb, and beef up the entire axle as a whole. So stick around, we're gonna get into it. Okay, so if you haven't already noticed, this video is gonna be a little off topic from what I usually do on my channel, but it's kind of related, so we're here. Oh well. There's 3 different 10 bolts we're going to get into. There is only 3. There's a 7.5, which is a piece of crap. There's the 8.5, which I'm pretty sure that's what this is. And if you have a full-size truck, you either have the 8.5 or an 8.6, which are basically the same thing, but the 8.6, they basically crammed a slightly bigger gear set inside there, which makes it slightly stronger. So 8.6 is the strongest 10 bolt that I know of. So just a little reference on that. From what I understand, if you have disc brakes, then you have the 8.6. They changed that over in the year 99. So if you have drums, you probably have the 8.5. That's a general rule for full-size trucks, at least. So if you have the 7.5, the things I'm going to show you are pretty much absolutely necessary to make sure that thing has a chance of surviving. So I will be doing these same things to the weak 7.5 that's unfortunately in my Trans Am with an LS motor. Really dumb setup, but that's the way they did it, so we're going to have to go and do that to that eventually too. Alright, so let's jump under there and I'll show you what I did with the locker and how we're making this stronger. Okay guys, so here's what the locker looks like with the cover off and rotated to where all the goodies are. These little things are the 2 parts that's different that wouldn't be in a normal differential. You just have like these spider gears back here. So without getting too deep into it, all you really need to know is this little guy right here is what locks your axle up. And then this guy down here is your speed cutoff. So what happens is this, when there's I think it's about 150 RPM difference is supposed to be the factory tune from when one wheel spins and the other one's not moving, or there's a difference between the two, this will rotate, and these little weights are actually, see if I can turn this around here, these are actually little teeth. They will spin around, and once they spin around fast enough, they fling out and they catch the top of this other pawl that I said is the speed cutoff, but it catches the top of it up there. You can see it move up in there. It catches that. That locks up the axle. Now, it's an okay system. It's simple, it works, and it's okay for off-road. But we want to do burnouts and cool stuff. And that's where these things mess up at. Now, really the biggest issue is that there's just too much of a wheel difference speed before these kick in. So one wheel will really start to gain a lot of momentum, and then all of a sudden the spring's so tight, this will finally flick out and lock all at once, and bam, that's when things break. So that is pretty much what's going on in there with that. And then, like I said, this guy at the bottom, this will fling out as the entire thing's spinning around. So once this spins so fast, that will fling out and that won't have anything to catch on. Your rear end won't lock up anymore. It's like a safety thing, because you don't want your rear end to lock up when you're going down the highway and you hit some ice. So there's some different ways I've seen people are adjusting these. Some of them are kind of crazy and they're taking them all apart. One thing I almost considered doing was welding on these to add weight so they would fling out faster. But honestly, you don't got to do any of that. This is so stupidly simple. Let me show you what I did here. Okay, so we moved in closer here. This spring, if you guys can see it, is what puts tension on these weights. Once you take this spring off, these weights can come out. So you have to have enough tension so they don't just fall out and lock up all the time, because you don't want to be chirping around the parking lot when you're pulling in Walmart or whatever. But we do want them to fling out really easily so that anything beyond that, they lock up before we get all of that crazy wheel speed that can break things. Now, honestly, all I did is I took a couple picks like these and I grabbed one side of this spring and then I grabbed the other side of this spring and some pliers. It was a little tricky, but basically pull the one all the way it would go and then take the other one and basically start cocking that back and I don't know how to word it, de-energizing that spring, basically taking some tension off of it. And I just kept doing that over and over and over and taking it further and further until I dropped off enough tension. Now, with that being said, don't do what I did. Take baby steps. Now, what you're going to want to do, and I'll give you a demonstration of this at the end, is I left that brake on and I actually stuck a screwdriver through the brake caliper so that would not turn. Put the truck in neutral and then took that brake apart. Spin that around. Now you're making a difference in wheel speed and you can test this and make a difference. So now I got lazy and honestly I didn't think I was really weakening the spring that much because it's kind of hard to tell. And I went too far and I completely took all of the tension off this spring. But I was able to save it because I really had an oh shoot moment. And if you notice, this is bent over. I was able to grab back up there and it actually worked out because now I have just enough tension to where, see, gravity wants to pull this down, but the spring is just tight enough to pull it back up. Now, I'll show you what that looks like when it's spinning around and how easily it locks up, but how it also doesn't instantly lock up to where you might as well have the thing welded. So, it's easy. I mean, anyone can do this. So, same thing for this guy. Now I know some guys might want to try to set these up for drifting or something. They don't want this to ever lock them out. I honestly don't think having this lock up at like highway speed is a good idea, but each to their own. I just wanted to raise mine. It's supposed to kick you out at like 20 miles an hour. I swear mine was way lower than that. So Since I was just making a small adjustment, this spring here, if you can tell, used to be straight, and I did this pretty much the same trick. I grabbed it with some pliers and bent it back. So basically I just put a little bit more tension on it, so to make it a little harder for that to fling out. Now it's hard to tell how much mile per hour you're going to add. This is kind of a trial and error thing. But if you really wanted to completely like eliminate that without having to weld it or anything, I'm willing to bet that you could take this spring and completely wrap it all the way back around and put so much tension on it that it would basically never fling out. You'd probably have to be doing like 60 miles an hour for that thing to be spinning fast enough to overcome the spring. So, okay, so I'm getting pretty uncomfortable under here. Let me set the camera up and I'll show you a quick demonstration of how this works. Okay guys, I just want to show you what this looks like in action here real quick. So there's that little pawl. So I have I'm spinning the passenger side, and the driver's side I have locked up so it can't spin. So basically there's a difference in wheel speed right now. And you see that little guy spinning around. So you can see how that would make those little pawls fling out and catch. So before, I could literally turn this around as fast as I possibly could, and I think I was only able to get it to lock up one time, and I think I just got lucky. So now, with that little bit of tension, let's get it around to where you can see it again. See if I should be able to give it a good yank and it'll lock up. Just like that. Now we're locked. And then I go in reverse and it unclicked. But like I said, we want to be able to go into parking spots without chirping our tires and looking like an idiot, so that's basically what this is right here. We can get spinning about this fast, and then if we pretty much give it any sudden jerk, like suddenly the tire broke loose, well, I think it just kicked on and kicked back off again. There it goes. And then we back up and kick it off. Okay guys, so that was the main thing I really wanted to show you here. Something that you can do to help add strength to the axle overall, even without a GovLock setup. And if you have the weaker 10 bolt, these things are kind of a necessity. So we got ourselves this girthy thing. Now, this is basically a reinforcement cover. So you bolt this on just like you would a normal cover, and then it actually has these studs that go through here, and those go all the way through, and that pushes on these bearing caps because these are kind of weak and they can actually flex when you put them under enough load. I don't know if I'll get to that point because we're not drag racing with this, but like I said, just want to be safe. That pushes against those, and then it pushes against the cover, and then obviously the cover's bolted all the way around here. And not to mention, these things look badass hanging off the back of your axle. And then one other thing I haven't done yet, but it's easy to show, is welding your axle tubes. Because this little spot right here, and then this being pressed in here, is all that really holds the tubes in here. So it is possible to put this on enough of a strain that one of these tubes can actually break loose and this whole thing will twist and your tube will stay right where it's at. And that is, I can imagine, would not end well. So I'm probably not going to go all the way around for my application. Like I said, this is just kind of an extra thing. I don't think I really need to go that far with it. But I'll probably put a big chunky weld just because this is easy to get to from here to here. Right there and right there. So all this together is going to make a good solid improvement. This should be way stronger. We took away a weak point. We're adding strength everywhere. Alrighty guys, I've had enough talking about rear ends for one day, so hopefully that was helpful. If you got anything to add, feel free to throw something down in the comments. Besides for that, that's all I got. So thanks for hanging out and have a nice freaking day. Oh, you guys thought the video was over? Check this out. We're on our test drive here. Look at this. We're gonna take a sharp turn. No tire chop. No lock. Turns the way it should. All right, now check this out. 180. Nice and normal. No lock. Multi-point turn. Reverse. No lock. Drives like a normal car. I could have spun them right there. There's some gravel on the road. But I'm gonna save it. All right, you guys ready for this? And instant lock, the way it should be. Right away, no bam, no clank. As soon as it starts spinning, it hooks and then it lets go. So, all right, now we're out of here.